Hello, darling. Welcome to your reading. I've just been kind of preparing the space, meditating on you, asking for your guides to come in and any messages that need to come through for you to come through for you. And clearing the cards here. I'm working with the Fountain Tarot deck, and I really like this deck because the inside of the box says, "You are the voice and the breath of universes." And on the back, it says, "Awaken the questions, you are the answer." A capital A answer, right? Very artistic, beautiful cards. Um, and yeah, I've just been, again, asking what messages that should come through for you. So usually what I recommend for people who are listening to my readings is to grab a journal or a piece of paper. Have it handy during your reading so that you can make notes. Anything that resonates with you, anything that creates or stirs emotion or brings memories, thoughts, images, even song lyrics, smells to your mind, you can jot those down. And I think it's really good kind of to take your reading as it comes, like as a journey, right? Making notes. And then at the end, doing a little bit more analysis, like looking over the big picture to see if there are themes or answers that jump out at you. I'll also share the cards that I know. These cards actually don't have what they are, major or minor arcana, that kind of thing. Some of them I know. They're easy to figure out, but I'll share the names of the cards, and you can always kind of research those in other places. Biddy Tarot, Biddy Tarot.com is a really good resource, and so you can always go there and look up the card. Usually I say, though, I suggest if you're reading, just to skim through the description and note any words that stick out. Those are usually the ones that are meant for you. Those descriptions are very full, very complex, and I don't believe that every aspect of each card is for every reading. I think that the aspects really play with each other. So they bring out or they highlight stronger things in each other that apply to you. So the words will stick out, is my point. The words that you're meant to know about that card will stick out. You really don't have to force the meaning. You just have to be open to seeing it. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and start outlining, drawing some pictures here, drawing some cards, kind of seeing where things fit in. And okay, so I'm using the Celtic cross spread. I'm going to show you here what the picture looks like. I drew 2 resolution cards up there at the top. The nice thing is with this reading, you can pause anytime. If you wanted to pause on the spread and take a deeper look, you're welcome to do that. And you can also pause going forward. So can even rewatch as many times as you want. The link to the video will be always open to you. So you don't have to worry about losing it or anything like that. I don't like to restrict access in that way. So just diving in here, I have to admit I'm always a little bit hesitant when I'm doing a reading for someone new, because there's a fear that oh, maybe I won't read the cards well, or there won't be, I'll just get stumped and not have anything else to say, and this person will never, they won't want another reading from me. It's weird, but just know that's something that I'm battling with right now. But I'm just going to trust that the right things are going to come through for you, and we're going to go forward. So there are 3 cards sitting here. They're parallel to me. Those represent you in your recent, past, present, and near future. That's kind of like how they sit left to right. And I always like to start with the present. So present is this guy. Uh, so this is a really interesting card because it is a masculine figure. And he seems to be like balancing this hoop, but he's only like, what we see then are in the corners are the two contributors up here, and they're contributing equal parts to the top of the circle. Um, and I generally see these two characters as our shadow side and our light side, and how actually balanced they are. I mean, we like to think that we like to think we're leaning toward the light much more than we are leaning toward the shadow, but the reality is our light side and our shadow side are really contributing pretty equally. Um, and I think what the only thing that's important to be concerned about is just that we are open to our shadow side, and that we are um, willing and able to look at it, like to confront it. And I think that does bring it in more into the light, and it really loses its grip on us. Um, so there's a kind of a sense of like ignorance is bliss with this guy, where he seems to really only be knowledgeable of the portion that he's holding, and he's not understanding what the light and the shadow are doing up at the top, like trying to keep balance. Um, and so there is a sense of like, for you right now, there is a sense of like, ignorance is bliss. If I don't have to see it, then I don't have to know. I don't have to acknowledge that it exists. But the negative thing about that is that that means you're also not acknowledging the light when you don't acknowledge the shadow. So just keep that in mind. Recent past was the star. Um, and so there's a sense, I just love this character. There's a sense of like, um, bringing light to the darkness. So maybe what I'm getting from this is maybe that where you are now is actually an evolution of where you've been, where you've had to really like shine light into darker spaces of yourself and for yourself. And so when you're coming into the present, it's more like, maybe not necessarily ignorance is bliss, but more so like, um, well, there is that component, but there's also the component of, um, you've evolved. You've evolved away from just like having to shine light into the darkness. You've evolved into like having more of a balancing act of those two things. And this can be anything. This can be like what a lot of people like call their demons, like where they've wrestled their demons. And I don't like to call it that, because I don't like demonizing portions of ourselves. I think you've come more to a balance, and you're just like, maybe I can't confront anymore right now. Um, in the near future, it's got this the Fool. This is the, excuse me, yeah, this is the Fool. This is 0 in the major arcana. It's really a feeling of beginnings, a return to innocence and to childhood. Is a young masculine character here. Um, there's also it's a beginning, but there's also kind of a sense of treachery here, where one wrong step, can land you down in one of those holes, one of those crevasses. Um, and it's the kind of the foolish um, approach to handling life, where a part of us will want to run away, or a part of us will um, move forward with something without all the details, without all the information. Um, I'm getting in this kind of scenario, it's like it is a further aspect of your evolution, and at the same time, um, it's going to be important to grow that little Fool up very quickly. So, and so it's okay to prepare ahead of time. It's before you even evolve there. It's okay to like begin asking more questions, or trying to get more details before you, like, understanding that that's going to be a challenge and having a different approach. Um, and interestingly enough, so the card that overlays these is what we consider the bridge or the barrier, and I think this is the Chariot. Either way, it's this guy, and he's got a light horse and a shadow horse, right? And he's trying to equally navigate them forward. I just think that's really fascinating. This is more of an awareness card than where we have this guy and contributing the shadow and the light, but with the two characters at the top, but they have no faces. And with this one, I see much more of like an in command, decisive balance, really, of the two, the light and the shadow. And I think it's that awareness. It's like coming into, if you're willing to come into awareness, then you're going to be much able to, and not by that I mean facing these things. You're going to be much more able to harness that energy and use it to direct you forward. And I think that will be some of the cushioning that you need when you're, because really the Fool is a symbol. It's new beginnings, and because it's the major arcana, it's a very strong message. Like it's a very strong new beginning. It's a very like it's very much a true new beginning where you're like a babe in new territory. And I think having the awareness, being able to confront both the shadow and the light sides of yourself and harnessing that energy, it's going to provide some of the buffer so that when there is a stumble or a mistake, you're not falling down into a crevasse and getting stuck there. Like you're just going to be able to like continue breezing over these large gaps. The hope above and below the cards are the hope and fears categories. And so with hope, we've got 7 of Wands. And, I think with what I'm getting the sense of with this is your hope really is that you'll be able to command, like those forces. Like there's kind of a sense that he's like, yeah, I got this. The fear, on the other hand, is the 6 of Cups. So Wands is like more of the spiritual, like ethereal aspect of things. And so there's kind of this sense, like there's almost this hope, and it's come to me a second time now where it's more than a hope, it's a deep knowing. And maybe that is really what hope is like hope is a deep knowing. That's why I keep getting that sense. That I had this just in another reading just now where it wasn't just hope. It was like, no, you actually know this is coming to fruition. And I think for you, it's like that you will have this higher worldly knowledge, like spiritual knowledge, and command. I mean, I don't know if you've been doing any like manifestation work or I think of Abraham Hicks. I don't know if you're familiar with Abraham Hicks, Hicks. So Abraham Hicks is actually what is something Hicks. Something Hicks. Anyway, it's actually this chick, and Abraham is a guide that speaks through her. And he's actually the character from the Bible, I believe. So he speaks through her, and he gives her these like divine speeches and quotes and stuff about humans and things humans need to be hearing. And so I sense there's kind of like that, like one you may want to check out Abraham Hicks, listen to some things, watch some YouTube videos. But there's almost, I feel like there's almost that kind of confidence that you have as well, that like, that you just have a knowing about the spiritual realm and higher realm, and you're able to command your place in that. The fear is that your emotions are going to overwhelm you, and essentially bury you. That's the sense I get with this card. They're going to obscure everything and they're going to bury you. alive. And again, it's just important to remember that's just a fear. Okay. Um, your approach to all of this is a bit disconnected. We have the Two of Cups here. Um, it's a bit dualistic where you have different conflicting thoughts about it, and you're also very disconnected from it. It's kind of that up in the sky, and you can look at it and reach for it, but you're not really integrating the feelings in. And I have to tell you, like, emotions are very powerful for you right now. Like, this whole reading is just full of cups. It's just everywhere. It's everywhere, and it is truly, I think, reconnecting with your emotions is truly the work that of it's almost like the work of your life's work. But it's also what you are knee deep in right now. Like, you are, um, yeah, you are knee deep in it. Um, I've never seen this, but I actually think these are male and female characters. Um, and so to me, this is like, this represents that your inner masculine and your inner feminine. Your inner feminine is much closer to being in touch with its feelings. Your inner masculine is really far away. And so, note this book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. I posted it in my tarot group, so you're welcome to find it there. But it is foundational when it comes to understanding the divine inner masculine and the divine inner feminine. I'd say right now the diagnosis for you is that you think the feminine should only really be connected with its emotions, the masculine should not. But at the moment both are disconnected, and it's just that the feminine's more within reach of their emotions. The environment you're in it's full of emotion, but it's almost like everyone has their back to it. And I say everyone because even though there's only one person in this picture, I'm getting the sense that it's everyone. I don't get the feeling that one person piles up this much emotion, like 8 cups worth. This is really a group effort. And it's something that, again, it's there. It may be hard to see and recognize, but it's definitely there, and everyone at this point has their back toward it. Everyone's really trying to ignore that any emotions are happening, and that may be from a long history of practice. And again, I don't know who this is. Like, this I'm sensing is a community, potentially like your housemate community, people that you're really close to. But I think some of it is that people have long established patterns for ignoring their emotions, and so they're not really trying to do it purposefully, but they are just used to doing that. They don't know how to acknowledge their emotions. They wouldn't even know how to tell you what emotions they're experiencing are. Because they're just not practiced at identifying them or calling them by name. And so this may be this is just a reminder for you to not do that, to not join that parade, because what you it's showing here that what you need to know, which is the 10 of Cups, is that, like, basically expression of our emotions is beautiful, and it leads us into balanced, healthy relationships with others. So it may be up to you to be the pioneer in this situation, to whatever it is, the situation you are coming up against, where you really feel like people are not acknowledging how they feel about something. It may be up to you to kind of gently pioneer the way forward, to be the one that says, hey, I've just noticed this is how I'm feeling. I wondered if anyone's feeling the same, or are you feeling this or this, or how are you feeling about this? And it may be up to you to provide that safe space for people where they find that they're able to acknowledge how they feel. And just patience is going to be really important. It's not the goal of them sharing how they feel is not important. It's really the goal of you and them reconnecting with how they feel. That's important. That's going to have more lasting effects. So whether or not they're people you're in community with are fully able to grasp what they're feeling and how to deal with it and all of that stuff. What really matters is that they're doing the work of identification. I know I have found with my own experiences with trauma that connection and identification of how I feel is an ongoing learning process. Um, I was just telling my mom this earlier today. Like, I had a situation with Morgan where logically I should not have been upset, but I was triggered, and because I was triggered, that's all I felt. That's what I believed to be true. Um, and what was the point of that? Oh, because I've been disconnected from my feelings for so much of my life and only just now reconnecting, I don't often know what I'm feeling. And it takes a minute. Sometimes it takes dialogue and processing out loud to come back and say, oh, this is what I'm feeling. And then the crazy thing is, I realize I've probably been feeling that for a long time. I just wasn't able to articulate it or understand it or even consciously feel it, right? Like subconsciously, I'm definitely getting the memo, but because I'm reacting and I'm like moving in the world based on how I feel, but consciously I don't realize I'm feeling it, and so then I can't alter it to change. Um, so sometimes when you're willing to move forward, other people begin to awaken as well. And I don't know if that's something you've been hesitating with, like if you've been feeling like you need to move forward or need to face some things. But I'm getting the sense that like you may be the one within your group that steps up and kind of takes the first step toward acknowledgement, and what it will do is really bring waves upon waves of that healing. It's a brave thing we do when we step forward and we're the first ones doing something, but it's not without reward. That's really how I believe. It's not without like that ripple effect really beginning to change aspects of our world. So um, so if you're being, if you really feel like you're being led to step up and um, take a different approach, then I really would recommend that you do that. So resolution here is, I love this. This guy's like sitting in a cup with a cup on his knee, and he is right in the midst of the waves. And there is this sense that you will learn how to relax even into the times that feel very tumultuous and emotional. You will garner this sense of confidence that all is well. You don't even have to hold the cup. You can just balance it on your knee. Like you will have enough like emotional stamina and health that you'll be able to detach from your emotions and even look at them and then see what needs to go, see what needs to be loved on, see what needs to be enhanced, and bring it back in. And there's a second resolution card, and I love this chick. She's really studying the cup here, and the cup is glowing. And so there's this sense of like, it's time to study not only your emotional self, but to really begin to understand the emotions in general. In yoga, we have what we call different bodies. So the center body is our physical body. It's our literal, physical, tangible body. But then like the next layer out is our emotional body. And it's this idea that we have another body that's intangible within our body that really is just operates based on emotions. It experiences and expresses emotions. And so this is an opportunity and an invitation for you to both relax into your emotions and to allow the waves to just kind of rock you and like gently take you where they go, but you're not going to be buried under them. And also to begin study of the emotions and the emotional body. And some of the things I've shared reading wise with you here will really help do that. But I'd also encourage you just to open yourself to any possibilities. And when you really put that out there for the universe will deliver for you. So it may be a book or a movie or a documentary or a person, but something will be given to you if you ask for it, to help you better understand like how the emotional side of our being. So I have a little bit of time, so I'm going to just draw one more card, see if we can get any further clarification. And that's a no. Okay, so that's all I have for today. I really enjoy sharing with you and have enjoyed being able to present to you this reading. I've asked everyone who's given a reading that if you appreciated your reading, please pass my information on. You can invite them to the tarot group, or you can just give them my contact information. And in response to that, I offer anyone who does that a $5 credit toward their next reading. So that can definitely be something that we work toward. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Namaste.